The first time my family called me worthless, I stayed quiet. The second time, I smiled. But the third time happened in front of nearly 200 people at my sister's wedding. My father stood up, raised his glass, looked directly at me, and said, "Some people spend their whole lives achieving nothing." Everyone laughed. My sister laughed. My mother laughed. Even my brother-in-law gave me that uncomfortable little smile people give when they don't know whether something is supposed to be funny. I felt my face burn. Then my father added, "At least Emma knows what success looks like." That was when I finally understood something. They hadn't misunderstood me. They had decided I was worthless. And they had no idea that before the night was over, the entire ballroom was going to hear my name. Not because my family wanted to celebrate me. Not because my sister suddenly loved me. But because someone else had finally recognized what I had spent years building, while my family was busy telling me I would never amount to anything. My name is Claire Morgan. And this is the story of the night my family learned the difference between being invisible and being insignificant. I grew up in a family where comparison was practically a second language. My younger sister Emma was the beautiful one, the confident one, the successful one, the one everyone bragged about. If Emma got an A, my parents framed the report card. If I got an A, my mother said, "That's nice." If Emma won a school competition, my father took her out for dinner. If I won one, he asked if I had remembered to clean the garage. It wasn't that my parents hated me. At least, that's what I told myself for years. They simply had a favorite. And unfortunately, it wasn't me. Emma knew it too. She had grown up expecting doors to open for her. And most of them did. She went to an expensive university. My parents paid for her apartment. They helped with her car. They covered her graduate school tuition. When she started dating Daniel, they immediately loved him. Daniel came from a wealthy family. His father owned several construction companies. His mother was involved with charity boards. My parents were impressed. Very impressed. When I announced that I wanted to start my own design and branding business, my father didn't even look up from his newspaper. That's not a real career. I laughed because I thought he was joking. He wasn't. My mother sighed. "Claire, why can't you do something stable?" "I am doing something stable." "You've been doing it for 3 years." "Exactly." She shook her head. 3 years and you're still renting that tiny apartment. Emma smiled from across the table. Maybe entrepreneurship isn't for everyone. I remember looking at her. Maybe. She shrugged. I just think some people need to accept what they're capable of. That sentence stayed with me. Not because it hurt. Because it motivated me. I stopped trying to convince them. And I started building. My first year was brutal. I worked from a desk in the corner of my apartment. I designed logos at 2 in the morning. I answered emails while eating instant noodles. There were months when I wasn't sure I could pay rent. But slowly things changed. 1 client became 3. 3 became 10. Then one of my clients introduced me to a regional restaurant group that needed an entirely new brand identity. That project changed everything. I spent 4 months on it. The company loved the result. They hired me for another project. Then another. By the end of the following year, I had hired 2 employees. The year after that, 5. Then 8. I moved into a real office. I bought better equipment. I hired an accountant. And eventually I stopped worrying about whether I could survive. I was actually succeeding. But I didn't tell my family. Not anymore. Because every time I told them something good, they found a way to make it small. When I bought my first company car, my father said, "Must be nice wasting money." When I told my mother I had hired employees, she said, "Don't get ahead of yourself." When I mentioned a large contract, Emma said, "One contract doesn't make you successful." So I stopped sharing. I simply lived my life. Quietly. And then Emma got engaged. The engagement announcement became the biggest event in our family. My mother called me every day. "Have you seen the venue? Have you seen Emma's dress? Did you see the flowers?" Daniel's parents are paying for most of it. Every conversation somehow returned to Emma. I was asked to help with invitations. Then seating arrangements. Then vendor calls. Then emergency planning. I didn't mind helping. She was my sister. But there was one thing I didn't know. Emma had been telling people that I was struggling. Apparently, my business wasn't a business. It was a little side project. Apparently, I was between jobs. Apparently, I had become obsessed with pretending to be successful. I found out when one of her bridesmaids accidentally mentioned it. We were having coffee. She looked at me strangely and said, "Honestly, Claire, I think it's really nice you're still trying." Trying to do what? She hesitated. "Make your business work." I stared at her. "It is working." She smiled awkwardly. "Right." That was when I knew. Emma had been talking. And I decided not to correct anyone. Because sometimes silence tells you more than an argument ever could. 2 weeks before the wedding, my mother called. "Claire, we need you to sit at the family table." "Okay. But please don't make things uncomfortable." I laughed. "What does that mean?" "Just don't talk about work." "Why?" "Because Daniel's family will be there." I waited. Then I asked, "What exactly are you worried I'll say?" She lowered her voice. "Claire, please don't embarrass us." I almost couldn't believe it. By talking about my job? Your business isn't the point. Then what is? Emma's wedding. I hung up. That night, I sat in my office alone. The city lights were glowing outside the window. My employees had already gone home. I looked around at everything I had built. The office. The computers. The project boards. The contracts. The company logo on the glass door. And I thought about my father's words. Some people spend their whole lives achieving nothing. For the first time, I didn't feel angry. I felt free. Because I finally realized something. I didn't need their approval anymore. The wedding day arrived. The venue was beautiful. Huge glass windows. White flowers. Gold decorations. Crystal lights. Hundreds of guests. Emma looked stunning. My mother cried when she saw her. My father couldn't stop smiling. And when Emma walked down the aisle, everyone stood. I stood too. I clapped. I smiled. And for a few minutes, I genuinely forgot everything else. She was my sister. And despite everything, I wanted her to be happy. Then the reception began. The speeches started. Daniel's father talked about family. Daniel's mother talked about love. My mother talked about how proud she was of Emma. Then my father took the microphone. He raised his glass. To my beautiful daughter. Everyone cheered. He looked at Emma. You've always known exactly where you were going. Emma smiled. My father continued. You worked hard, you made smart choices, and most importantly, you never settled. Then he looked across the room. Directly at me. And then there are people who spend their lives searching for direction. My stomach tightened. I knew. He was talking about me. People turned. Some looked away. Others watched. My father smiled. Claire has always been different. Emma giggled. My father continued. She likes to chase these little projects. A few people laughed. Maybe one day she'll find something that actually works. More laughter. I looked down at my glass. Then my father raised his voice. But tonight isn't about her. He smiled. Tonight is about Emma. Everyone applauded. I didn't. I simply placed my glass on the table. And then I heard a voice beside me. Are you okay? It was Daniel. I looked at him. I'm fine. He looked uncomfortable. I'm sorry. You don't have to apologize. He nodded. Then he said something I didn't expect. I don't agree with him. I looked at him. What? I think your father is wrong. Before I could respond, the DJ started the next part of the reception. The moment passed, but something inside me had changed. I wasn't hurt anymore. I was done. Later that evening, Emma came over. She was holding a champagne glass. Having fun? Yes. She smiled. You've been very quiet. I'm enjoying the evening. She leaned closer. You know, Claire, you don't have to pretend. Pretend what? That you're happy for me. I stared at her. I am happy for you. Really? Yes. She laughed softly. You always do this. Do what? Act like you're better than everyone. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Emma, I've said maybe 10 words to you tonight. Exactly. She walked away. I watched her disappear into the crowd. Then my phone vibrated. It was an email. I opened it. The subject line read, Congratulations, National Business Innovation Award. I stared at the screen. My company had been nominated months earlier. I had completely forgotten about the final announcement. The email said I had won. Not second place. Not finalist. Winner. My company had been selected from hundreds of businesses across the country for its work, helping small businesses rebuild their brands and expand into new markets. And there was something else. The award ceremony was being held that night, at the wedding venue. I looked up. Then I noticed something I hadn't paid attention to earlier. A small stage had been set up at the far end of the ballroom. I assumed it was for the wedding entertainment, but now I saw a banner. My company logo was on it. My heart stopped. I had sponsored the event through my company months earlier. The wedding planner had told me there would be a short business awards presentation after dinner. I had completely forgotten. I had never told my family. The host stepped onto the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, before we continue tonight's celebration, we have one very special announcement. I froze. My mother looked toward the stage. My father smiled. Emma turned around. The host continued. This evening, we are honored to recognize an entrepreneur whose work has transformed hundreds of small businesses. People began whispering. The recipient of this year's National Business Innovation Award is... A pause. The room became silent. Then the host said my name. Claire Morgan. Everything stopped. My mother froze. My father stopped smiling. Emma's face went completely blank. I didn't move. The host repeated it. Claire Morgan, please come to the stage. People started applauding. I stood, and as I walked toward the stage, I could hear whispers. That's her? She owns Morgan Creative? That's her company? I've seen their work. She's the founder? I reached the stage. The host smiled. Claire, congratulations. He handed me the award. I looked down at it. For years, my family had treated my work like a joke. And now 200 people were standing and applauding. My father was sitting in silence. My mother looked shocked. Emma looked furious. The host handed me the microphone. And I could have said anything. I could have humiliated my father. I could have reminded everyone what he had said. I could have told the entire room that the company he called a little project had become a nationally recognized business. But I didn't. I simply said, "Thank you." I looked around the room. I've learned something over the years. Everyone became quiet. Sometimes the people closest to you are the last people to see what you're capable of. My father's face changed. I continued. But that doesn't mean you stop. I held the award tighter. It means you keep going. The room erupted in applause. I stepped off the stage. And that's when Emma approached me. Her smile was gone. What was that? What? You knew this was happening. I didn't. Don't lie. I'm not. She looked at the award. You're the founder? Yes. You actually own that company? Yes. Her face turned red. Why didn't you tell us? I looked at her. Would you have believed me? She didn't answer. Then my father appeared. His voice was low. Claire. I turned. He looked different. Not angry. confused. You never told us. You never asked. He stared at me. How successful are you? I almost laughed. But I didn't. Successful enough. My mother stepped forward. Why would you hide this from us? I looked at her. I didn't hide anything. You did. No. I shook my head. I stopped explaining. Silence. That sentence hit harder than anything else. My father looked down. Then he said, I was trying to motivate you. I stared at him. By calling me worthless? He looked away. I didn't mean it like that. You said it in front of everyone. I was joking. No. My voice stayed calm. You weren't. Emma interrupted. This is ridiculous. It's my wedding. I looked at her. You're right. I handed the award to the event coordinator for a moment. I don't want to ruin your night. Then I turned back to my father. But I'm not going to stand here and let you insult me anymore. He looked at me. What do you want? Nothing. Claire, I don't want your apology tonight. My mother looked hurt. But we're your family. I nodded. I know. And then I said the words I had been afraid to say for years. But family doesn't get unlimited chances to hurt you. The room around us suddenly felt very quiet. Daniel walked over. He looked at me. Claire. I smiled. Congratulations. I looked at him. Thank you. Then he turned toward Emma. I think we should let her go. Emma stared at him. What? He took her hand. She's your sister. Emma didn't answer. I picked up my coat, and I walked out. No dramatic screaming. No revenge speech. No tears. Just silence. Outside, the night air was cold. I stood on the sidewalk and looked back at the glowing windows of the ballroom. For years, I had imagined what it would feel like to finally prove my family wrong. I thought it would feel amazing. It didn't. It felt peaceful. Because the truth was, I hadn't won that award to prove anything to them. I had won it because I had spent years working when nobody was watching. The next morning, I woke up to 37 missed calls. Most were from my mother. Some were from relatives. One was from my father. Then I saw an email from my assistant. Claire, congratulations again. The award announcement has gone viral. I opened the link. Photos from the event had already been posted online. One showed me standing on stage. Another showed the audience applauding. The caption read, Local entrepreneur Claire Morgan wins National Business Innovation Award. My company received hundreds of new inquiries that week. 3 major businesses requested meetings. A national magazine asked for an interview. And suddenly, the woman my family had called worthless was receiving invitations to speak about entrepreneurship. But I didn't tell my family. I didn't need to. They already knew. 3 days later, my father came to my office. I almost didn't recognize him. He stood in the lobby wearing the same suit he had worn to the wedding. My receptionist called me. There's someone here to see you. Who? Your father. I was silent. Then I said, send him in. He walked into my office. He looked around at the framed awards, the employees, the conference room, the company logo, the city view through the windows. Then he looked at me. You built all this? Yes. He nodded slowly. I'm proud of you. I wanted to believe him. But I couldn't. Not yet. He sat down. I owe you an apology. I didn't respond. I was wrong. Still nothing. I thought I was protecting you. From what? Failure. I looked at him. I wasn't afraid of failure. He lowered his eyes. I know that now. I leaned back. What are you afraid of now? He looked at me. Losing my daughter. That hurt. Because part of me still wanted those words. But wanting something and trusting it are two different things. I said, you don't lose me because I become successful. He nodded. You lose me when you make me feel like I don't matter. He looked down. I understand. I hoped he did. But I wasn't ready to pretend everything was fixed. Then came the hardest conversation. Emma called. I need to talk to you. Okay. Can I come over? Sure. She arrived that evening. She looked exhausted. She sat across from me. I was jealous. I didn't expect that. She continued. I always thought you were trying to compete with me. I wasn't. I know. She looked down. I thought you were pretending because I was the successful one. I almost smiled. Emma, I never wanted to compete with you. I know. She took a breath. I was cruel. Yes. I said things about you. I know. Mom and Dad believed me. I know. She started crying. I don't know why I did it. I stayed quiet. She looked at me. Can you forgive me? I thought for a long time. Then I said, I can forgive you. Her eyes lifted. But forgiveness doesn't mean we go back to the way things were. She nodded. I understand. Trust takes time. I know. She wiped her eyes. Then she said, I'm sorry. This time I believed her. Not because she was crying, but because she wasn't asking me for anything. She wasn't asking for money. She wasn't asking for a job. She wasn't asking me to fix something. She was simply apologizing. And sometimes that's where healing begins. Months passed. My company grew. I hired more people. We opened another office. I appeared on podcasts. I spoke at business conferences. And eventually I stopped thinking about that wedding. Until one afternoon my mother called. Claire? Yes? Your father and I are proud of you. I smiled. Thank you. There was a pause. Then she said, we should have said it years ago. I looked out the office window. The city stretched beneath me. I wish you had. I know. Another pause. Then she asked, "Do you think someday we can start over?" I thought about my childhood. The report cards, the comparisons, the dinners, the insults, the wedding, the applause. And finally I said, we can start from today. Not yesterday. Not from pretending nothing happened. From today. And that was enough. Because I learned something that night. People can underestimate you. They can laugh at you. They can call your dreams stupid. They can tell everyone that you'll never succeed. But none of those things determine your worth. Only you do. And sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't making the people who hurt you suffer. It's becoming so secure in who you are that their opinion no longer controls you. My family spent years telling me I was worthless. Then, at my sister's wedding, my name was announced. And for the first time in my life, I didn't need them to clap. I had already learned how to clap for myself. And that was worth more than anything they could have given me.